Hello and welcome to Beverly Kane, Queen of the How-To, formerly known as Boca Joe. And I'm still a Boca Joe, still a box of chocolates, Jill of all trades. But as I was reviewing my channel, every single one of my videos started with how to. So I decided to change the name to Queen of the How-To. So today we are going to be learning how to make wonderfully delicious deviled eggs. Okay, so I have everything laid out here, and I boiled my eggs. I figured you didn't want to watch me do that, but I just put them in some water, let them boil for about 12 minutes, and then put them in an ice bath because it's best to let them, put them in the water when the water is hot, and to let the water, drain the water and then put them in an ice bath afterwards because they're much easier to peel. Because let me tell you, I didn't do that at first, and that first little batch of eggs was trying to, anyway, really get on my nerves. So take those tips, put the eggs in there once the water is boiling. Once you take them out, drain the water and put them in an ice bath. Let them stay in there for like 15 minutes or so, and then they'll be much easier to peel. Okay? So I have my eggs. I've already done quite a few of them, but I'm just going to show you what I'm doing. They've boiled, and now I am just cutting them in half and taking the yolk out. And I'll tell you also what I'm putting them in. All right. I went to the Dollar Tree trying to find a little egg tray because sometimes they have those, but they didn't. So as a resourceful woman, I was like, what do they have? And so what they had it's a cupcake carrier. And it's awesome because it's also sectioned. It has little sections that, but it lets the egg be able to stay in there without moving around too much because it has a little indentation for where the cupcake would sit. So that's what I'm using today instead of an egg carrier. So you got to use what you got. All right. So I've boiled the eggs, I've peeled the eggs, cut the eggs in half, and now I've set them inside there, which is what I'll be using to carry them in. And then I have all the yolks here in my bowl. What I will be using for this recipe, obviously the yolk of the eggs, Duke's mayonnaise. I'm a big fan of when I'm making any kind of thing like this, potato salad or whatever, to use Duke's mayonnaise. I just think it's awesome. As well as sweet relish, which is Mount Olive. I do prefer Mount Olive, relish. So that's the Duke's mayonnaise, the Mount Olive sweet relish. I have some celery seed here. I have pepper, salt, paprika, a little bit of sugar we'll be using. And then I have one secret ingredient that I'll tell you about in just a little bit. So unfortunately, I don't measure. I'm sorry for that, but that's how I learned to cook. That's how my mom cooked. She didn't measure stuff. The only thing that I really measure is rice. So when I'm cooking rice, I'm very particular about that. But most other things, I'm just doing it to taste. And honestly, I used to hate it when I called my mom for a recipe and she was like, oh, just put enough in there to taste. And now here I am doing the same thing. So I'm just going to put, what is this? Maybe going to start with looks like about 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise, and I don't want to put that same spoon in my relish, so I guess I should have opened this first because this is a new jar. All right, here we go. There we go. And so I'm just going to this is 2 heaping teaspoons of that. So we got our Duke's mayonnaise, we got that. We're going to put a little salt. I'm going to put a little pepper. And a little celery seed. Oop, that has a shake top, not pour. Okay, because we don't want to go too crazy with that, but you want to get that nice celery flavor. So then I'm just going to mash up these yolks and mix this all up. And it ends up, giving you a nice yellow. And a lot of people put mustard in their deviled eggs. I do not. I don't like it, and I feel like it gives it too much of a tangy flavor for me. So I do not put any kind of mustard in mine. But you just want to mash up those yolks really well so that they get nice and creamy in there with the mayonnaise. Okay. And I like to add just a little sprinkle of sugar. I don't know how much it was, maybe just shy of a teaspoon. I'm trying to give you measurements because, I know how frustrating it can be hearing a recipe and you're like, how much? How much? And this is not quite a whole dozen. Well, it's a dozen yolks, but one of those eggs, anyway, it was aggravating me so bad. Like I said, trying to take the shell off of it because I didn't do that tip that I told you, in the beginning, to boil them and, start them in the hot water and then put them in the cold bath. That I just I'm like, okay, I'm throwing you away. So that is getting nice and creamy, but I want it a little smoother than that. So I'm going to add another bit of mayonnaise. Okay. And we're stirring that all up until it gets, nice and creamy. So that is what you get. And it smells good. So my secret ingredient is, I don't know if you've ever tried Wickles pickles. So I really love them, especially on a turkey sandwich. But so I've used all the pickles, but I save the juice for occasions just like this. And I just pour a little bit of that juice in there because Wickles, they're pickles, but they have a little bit more of a tangy, a little bit of a spicy kind of flavor, which is quite delicious. So I just use a little of that juice in my deviled eggs recipe, and it just gives it a whole little kick that is quite delicious. So, and that makes my mixture that much more creamy. Okay, so that is what I have. So we have the yolks, we have the Duke's mayonnaise, we have the Mount Olive sweet relish, salt, pepper, celery seed, a little sugar, and just a little bit of that Wickles juice. Okay, so then all I do is I just take the egg and I just take a good heaping spoonful of it, and I just plop it down inside of that egg that I took the yolk out of. And it makes such a delicious deviled egg. Then you sprinkle it with just a little bit of paprika. And girl, let me tell you, you got some good eating right here. Whenever I take these anywhere, I always come back with an empty container because people love them. So I hope you will try this recipe. Please let me know if you do and give me your comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of the future episodes. But let me tell you, this is delicious. Hope you'll try it. See you next time from the queen of the how-to.